You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
Is this real life? I feel crazy. The world is spinning around me. What's happening? You have 4 eyes. I have 2 fingers. Ah!
For years, certain moments existed in plain sight. Short clips, casual interviews, laughing exchanges that felt harmless at the time. According to publicly circulated footage, these moments were rarely framed as important and almost never examined closely. But history has a way of changing how we interpret what we once ignored. With the release of 50 Cent's new documentary, familiar media timelines are being revisited, not to declare guilt, but to ask deeper questions. Questions about power, about mentorship, about how influence operates when fame arrives too early and oversight arrives too late.
Yeah, so as soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, this is gonna be yours. So every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but you know, go get the front shot in this.
Man.
And out. Minute.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down there, you gotta, you know, wear your seat.
I mean, I'm 15, you can ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
Alright, 16.
You're not ready. Slow down. Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Alright.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion. So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
Signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go buck full crazy.
Going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you wanna do? What you wanna do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out some girls.
Man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
This is not an investigation into crimes. No criminal accusation has been proven. Instead, this is an examination of systems, silence, and why certain narratives remain unchallenged for so long. The modern entertainment industry often presents mentorship as a sacred pathway. Young talent is discovered, guided, and protected by those with experience and access. On the surface, this structure appears supportive. Yet, According to publicly circulated footage and interviews over the last 2 decades, mentorship in celebrity culture frequently overlaps with power in ways that are not always transparent. In archival interviews, influential figures are often seen introducing young artists to elite spaces.
You got people in the industry that's been saying for years, this man is having sex with underage. So now the federal government is looking at that like, yo, when is somebody gonna come forward? We got this information, this alleged information, but nobody's willing to come forward. Then they go on and say, yo, Shakur Stewart mysteriously dead. Supposed to be a self-inflicted wound. Person that had everything going for him in their life. Kim Porter dead. Somebody's car gets blown up. This guy is walking around threatening other actors, people. Somebody got to get involved in it. If it ain't the state, let it be the feds. Somebody got to stop him. He lucky that God giving him the opportunity to be stopped while he's alive, didn't have to go to hell and face that shit. He got a chance to repent now, change his life.
You mentioned minors, and a lot of people have been trying to drag Justin Bieber into this situation because there's a lot of suspect looking videos with Diddy and Bieber in it, and they're making a lot of
These introductions are framed as opportunities, privileges that signal trust and validation. At the time, media coverage typically celebrates these moments as success stories. Rarely does a conversation extend to questions of boundaries, accountability, or long-term impact. This absence is not necessarily malicious. It is structural. When a young artist enters an industry driven by relationships, access becomes currency. Power imbalance is not always explicit. It exists quietly, embedded in contracts, schedules, and expectations. According to some commentators, the very language of mentorship can discourage scrutiny. To question the mentor is to appear ungrateful. To question the system is to risk exclusion. In the case of high-profile figures like Diddy and Justin Bieber, public narratives evolved rapidly. One was already an established gatekeeper. The other became a global phenomenon at an unusually young age. Their proximity, visible in interviews and behind-the-scenes footage, was largely interpreted through a lens of opportunity rather than risk. This interpretation, however, was shaped by cultural norms of the time. It is important to state clearly, no criminal accusation has been proven. What exists instead is a documented pattern of how the industry frames relationships between power and youth. According to publicly circulated footage, these interactions were often normalized through humor, casual language, and celebratory framing. Media outlets rarely contextualize these moments beyond entertainment value. This raises a critical distinction between legality and ethics. Something can be legal while still raising ethical questions. Something can be normalized without being examined. According to media scholars, industries built on access often resist introspection because introspection disrupts profit. Another key factor is the role of repetition. When similar mentorship pathways appear across generations, they begin to feel inevitable. Patterns are no longer questioned, they are inherited. Early warnings, when they exist, are often dismissed as rivalry, jealousy, or exaggeration. Some commentators claim that when criticism comes from perceived adversaries, it is easier to ignore entirely. The documentary context reframes this dynamic, not by asserting wrongdoing, but by placing familiar footage into a broader historical sequence. It invites viewers to ask why certain questions were never mainstreamed. why oversight was treated as unnecessary, why silence became synonymous with professionalism. At its core, Part 1 establishes a foundation. Celebrity mentorship is not a neutral process. It is shaped by power, incentives, and cultural habits that reward silence more than reflection. Silence in the entertainment industry is rarely accidental. It is learned, reinforced, and rewarded. According to some commentators, silence often functions as an informal contract. Speak carefully, remain vague, and opportunities continue. Ask difficult questions, and access becomes limited. Archival media analysis shows that when uncomfortable moments surface publicly, they were frequently reframed as jokes or dismissed as misinterpretations. Clips circulated briefly, then faded. This pattern does not require conspiracy. It relies on distraction. New headlines replace old ones. The cycle continues. In examining the cultural response to figures like Diddy and Justin Bieber, it becomes clear that the public was encouraged to focus on outcomes rather than conditions. Success stories overshadowed process. Charts, tours, and awards became proof that everything was working as intended. Yet, according to publicly available interviews, Bieber later spoke about emotional strain, loss of control, and the pressures of growing up under constant visibility. These reflections did not accuse individuals. They described environments, systems, expectations. This distinction matters. Media responsibility exists in the space between speculation and silence. Responsible analysis does not declare guilt where none has been established, but it also does not ignore patterns simply because they are uncomfortable. The role of documentary storytelling, as demonstrated here, is not to prosecute, but to contextualize. The normalization of silence is reinforced by fear. Fear of legal consequences, fear of professional retaliation, fear of being labeled difficult. According to some commentators, this fear disproportionately affects younger participants in power imbalance relationships. They often lack the language, authority, or support to challenge narratives as they are being written. Public reevaluation typically arrives late. It often coincides with legal scrutiny, not because legal outcomes confirm narratives, but because attention shifts. The spotlight widens. Questions once considered off-limit become discussable. It is crucial to emphasize again, this has never been legally established as criminal wrongdoing. No criminal accusation has been proven. The documentary does not claim otherwise. Instead, it examines how media ecosystems respond when power is concentrated and accountability is diffuse. Part 2 highlights a central paradox. The industry markets youth as authenticity while shielding the systems that manage that youth from scrutiny. Mentorship is celebrated, but rarely audited. Silence is framed as maturity. Compliance as professionalism. When viewed collectively, archival footage becomes less about individual moments and more about cultural conditioning. Audiences were trained not to ask certain questions. Journalists were incentivized to prioritize access over analysis. And institutions benefited from the absence of disruption. As timelines are re-examined, the focus shifts from individuals to infrastructure. How does an industry designed around access regulate itself? According to media analysts, self-regulation often fails when profit and reputation are at stake. The documentary's strength lies in restraint. It does not draw conclusions. It presents patterns and allows viewers to reflect. This approach is intentional. Declaring verdicts would simplify a reality that is structurally complex. One of the most significant distinctions explored is the difference between harm and illegality. Courts address specific actions under defined statutes. Culture, however, operates in gray zones. Ethical harm can exist without legal consequence. Emotional impact can persist without formal acknowledgement. In revisiting the public proximity between powerful mentors and young artists, the documentary asks why oversight was minimal. Not who is guilty, but why systems failed to ask protective questions. Why checks and balances were informal at best. According to publicly circulated footage, authority figures often position themselves as guardians. Yet guardianship without accountability is fragile. It depends on trust rather than structure. When trust replaces transparency, scrutiny fades. Another theme is retrospective awareness. Cultural understanding evolves. What once felt normal can later feel troubling. This does not retroactively assign guilt. It highlights growth in collective standards. The question becomes whether industries evolve with that awareness or resist it. Some commentators claim that early warnings existed but lacked institutional amplification. Without credible platforms willing to contextualize them, those warnings dissolved into noise. The system did not need to suppress them. It only needed to outpace them. By the time public reevaluation occurs, narratives are deeply embedded. Careers are being shaped. Fortunes made. Rewriting context becomes emotionally and financially disruptive. Resistance is predictable. The documentary ultimately positions a viewer not as a judge, but as a witness to pattern recognition. It asks whether society is comfortable examining how power functions when youth and influence intersect, whether mentorship should require clearer boundaries, whether silence should still be treated as professionalism. No verdict is offered. None is implied. Instead, the film closes its analysis by widening the lens. This is not about one industry or one era. It is about how systems replicate themselves when left unexamined. This documentary does not ask you to believe accusations. It does not ask you to assign guilt. No criminal accusation has been proven, and this analysis does not claim otherwise. What it asks instead is something quieter, and perhaps more difficult. It asks whether we, as audiences, have confused success with safety, whether we have mistaken silence for consent, whether we have allowed access to replace accountability. According to publicly circulated footage, many of these moments were visible all along, yet rarely contextualized. Media has power, not just to expose, but to frame, to question, to pause before moving on. As viewers, we also hold responsibility to engage critically without speculating recklessly, to distinguish between evidence and pattern, between rumor and structure. So the question remains open. When power, mentorship, and youth intersect, who is responsible for asking the hard questions? When silence benefits too many people, who breaks it without turning speculation into harm? And as cultural standards evolve, will industries evolve with them, or wait until re-examination is forced? That question is not about the past. It is about what comes next.